6 days, I can have the sheer hulk alongside by Monday, though fashioning a lower mast to the proper dimensions may take a while, sir. At least we can have the padding out till then. I will need the length of the main course and topsail yards for my calculations, if you please, sir. God, I'm stuck in port till next Epiphany, Lewrie thought, despairing. There weren't many fourth-rate 50-gunners left in the Navy inventory. Most had been turned into troop transports, minus guns, or were used as harbour stores hulks. Warships of roughly the same class and design had their specifications drawn up to strict mathematical calculations of mast thickness, lower taper, length, upper diameter to fit through the partners of the lower and upper gun decks, and how they must be stepped to the keelson deep below, with the length of their yards laid out to yet another set of calculations. It might take weeks for the dockyards to fashion one, if none was laying about ready for use, which was extremely iffy. Posey seemed free enough of sneezes to essay the climb down the narrowing mainstays and ratlines, and swinging out and around to the outer face of the larboard main shrouds. Lewrie followed him, gingerly, but damned if the bastard didn't pause to sneeze again, with both hands busy, and expel a cloud of snot and droplets without his handkerchief. The air was so cold in harbour that Posey's breath, along with snot, resembled a sudden burst from a 6-pounder gun. Lewrie waited till that cloud dissipated, then clambered down, slowly and carefully, to the larboard bulwarks, and dropped to the safety of the sail-tending gangway. He hoped that he wasn't infected. Lewrie saw Mr. Posey to the starboard entry port, made some polite departure small talk, then doffed his hat as the side party rendered debarking honours. "A whole new lower mast, is it, sir?" Lieutenant Geoffrey Westcott, HMS Sapphire's first officer, glumly asked, once Mr. Posey was in his boat, and its crew stroking for the distant shore. "Aye, if they can find one," Lewrie told him, "or make a new one." "Oh, good," Westcott replied with a glint in his eyes, and a quick, fierce grin. "Bags of shore liberty, then. Mirth, glee, wine and women. Most especially women," Lewrie said with a roll of his eyes. Geoffrey Westcott and Lewrie had been paired for nigh 6 years, come May, in the same ships, first the Reliant frigate, and now Sapphire, and Lewrie had stood in awe of how aggressively his first lieutenant pursued Quim. Lewrie, no slacker, when it came to discovering a willing lady, felt like a monk in comparison. "Well, at least we can still use the main course yards for hoisting stores aboard," Westcott commented, looking aloft, "even if we had to jury-rig. I continue loading fresh stores, but when the sheer hulk comes alongside on Monday, everything will have to be stripped away," Lewrie told him, "and we'll have to stretch some canvas over the gaps when it's extracted from the weather deck right down to the orlop, else all the rain and snow get in." "I'll see to it, sir," Westcott promised, touched fingers to the brim of his cocked hat, and walked away. Probably to stay warm, Lewrie told himself as he lingered by the starboard bulwarks to gaze at the shore and the town. Portdown Hill was almost obscured by the low grey and swift scudding clouds, and the spires of the churches were almost brushed with them. Under that unbroken gloom, the coal smoke from thousands of chimneys spewed an even darker pall. It had snowed before HMS Sapphire, the other escorting warships, and the clutch of troopships had entered port and had come to anchor, and then warmed and melted what snow had fallen, turning Portsmouth and its environs into a dingy grey and black sketch, with the red brick of manufactories, warehouses, and government buildings the only discernible colour. What accumulations of snow that remained had gone to dark mud and coal soot grey. It was trying to snow again, in a lacklustre fashion, in swirls and gusts that played out before any new accumulation could sugarcoat the winter's ugliness. As Lewrie paced along the quarterdeck's rails, his boots found icy patches of snow just half melted, then refrozen to sound crunchy, then another patch of fresher snow just deep enough to muffle his steps. When he turned to look forward towards the bows, he could see some of the ship's boys trying to make the best of what had fallen on the decks to make snowballs. They had formed two sides in roughly equal numbers, but there wasn't much to work with, and after a few volleys back and forth, the game was played out for lack of ammunition. "Mr. Firewell," he said to one of the midshipmen standing harbour watch, "break out the brooms at the end of the second dog and have the ship swept down. No sense in someone breaking in."